Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked on Cowboys. Locked on Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. You can follow me on Twitter at Marcus_Mosher. And joining me today, as always, is Landon McCool. You can check him out on Twitter at McCoolBCB. You can also listen to him on the Best Coast Boys podcast. Landon, what is going on, sir?
Not much, Marcus. Before we get any further, we have to solve one burning question that I'm sure all of our listeners have. Which is better, Western or Eastern Pennsylvania?
So I was thinking about this question actually before we were starting this. So can I just explain this to the listeners for a quick?
Yes, because I have very little knowledge, but I'm very interested to know more about this rivalry that exists.
Yeah, so I consider everything Pittsburgh into the west, Western PA, and then everything obviously to the east, Eastern PA. Us Westerners, we've got this like grizzled nature about us. We really have nothing going on. It snows 10 months out of the year. So we have nothing better to do than sit around and play chess. So I'm not surprised that Ben DiNucci beat Micah Parsons. That's what I would say.
And grizzled is self-described. I like that. And I bet you're more handsome in Western Pennsylvania too. Is that the case?
No, we put French fries on our salads and on our sandwiches and call it a vegetable. So
that's what you mean by grizzled. Okay, I thought you were going the other way.
Look,
wow.
I would say Mike McCarthy was in like the 99th percentile in shape people in Pennsylvania. That makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay, now I'm more getting it's more clear picture on exactly what we're talking about now. That was an excellent insight into Pennsylvania rivalry. That was a really great moment.
Basically, Eastern Pennsylvanians are just New Yorkers that are disguised as that. So we'll talk about it on a different show. But all right, let's talk about some of the big winners and losers of Hard Knocks, Landon. I'll start. You might be able to see by the jersey I have on. Actually, you might not be able to see it. It's an 88 jersey.
Oh, yes.
We know CeeDee Lamb, obviously a star. He mentioned all the great 88s that he wants to be like, right? He did not mention the actual 88, whose jersey I'm wearing right now, Antonio Bryant. But
oh wow, I was going to say which one did they miss? And apparently I missed Antonio Bryant.
Yeah, this is an Antonio Bryant jersey, by the way. You never know. He was the star of the show for a couple of different reasons, right? He had some incredible catches. I just think he came off really well with his personality, and on top of that, he's a candle lover, just like me, right? So I'm a big candle guy. So CeeDee Lamb being a candle guy is the reason why he's the biggest winner for me.
Yeah, he's high on smells, so I was hoping that jersey is not like game worn, or otherwise he may not be a fan. Yeah, I thought it was funny, man. I did not see the candles thing coming. I mean, are
you a candle guy?
I enjoy candles, absolutely. Okay. So I'm glad that I'm part of the club with CD about being fans of candles. I guess if that's a elusive club, but it's really great. You know, the best thing about all this, and we're gonna just harp on this a lot, I would assume, but the best thing about all this is just getting to see these guys' personalities that that are in just that kind of next level of peeling the onion. And it's different when they're in front of reporters and getting asked questions, but seeing him like kind of present himself and like putting himself out there as a smells guy, which I thought was just a very funny way of framing that.
He's 22 years old. And he recognizes how important it is to smell good, right? Like I would say most men in their early 20s do not have this ability, right?
I would say definitely most men on that team probably don't. I mean, just judging by what happened with Zeke in the.
Well, I was going to say that another big winner of the show. Baby powder, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Zeke's definitely got some sort of promotional deal coming up pretty soon.
Oh yeah,
Gold Bond or something like that. So expect that in the future, I would say.
Yeah, good for Zeke and his baby powder.
Gooch versus the Nooch. That's what I thought the title of this whole episode was.
Should we call the podcast Gooch versus the Nooch?
I don't know how we can't now. For sure.
Oh, my goodness. All right, let's talk about some other winners. I think Azure Kamara has to be one of the bigger winners in this podcast, right?
Yeah, that was great, man. That was just really awesome to kind of, again.
it's why we have Hard Knocks, right? For stories like this.
Absolutely. And just to see, look, I didn't know any of that about his story. I mean,
no, neither did I.
And to see his family and to see like what they have been through and kind of his struggle. I mean, really what it does is it puts it in perspective. We comment on this team all the time and we talk about these players and their performance. And sometimes it's easy, especially online, when we talk about these guys, to forget that they're human beings that like are just trying to chase a dream. So it's really great reminder to see these guys and their family and kind of what they're playing for. And it kind of helps humanize and really makes it easier for you to root for them. And it's great to see that kind of thing.
How cool was it that Kamara's family got to be at the game where he, played a lot of snaps? He actually had a big play late in that game, as they showed. His mom was just smiling ear to ear. That was probably my favorite moment of Hard Knocks so far. I mean, I don't know how they're going to be able to top that.
Not to play the cynical angle of it, but how excited do you think the Hard Knocks group was after getting all that footage and dealing with his family, like to see him get a sack, just because it's like, it really was, it played out perfectly for the cameras and it was such a great story, of course. But that was really awesome just to kind of see. And once I realized that they were going into the game after talking about that, I was like, man, this is really perfect because of how he performed. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's actually somebody who I thought played just much better than he did in the first preseason game. Like you can tell that he is still really raw and he's still so undersized, and they talked about it, but I do think he's somebody that, maybe you stick on the practice squad for another year. If he could put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, he certainly has the frame to do it. Like he is long. So he's just an interesting person, a great, I think his character is fantastic. And it was a great storyline from the group at Hard Knocks. Let's take a quick break so I can tell you guys about Bet Online, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all of the action on Bet Online. Before the next pitch, head over to Bet Online on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Landon, let's give some more winners and losers. What you got?
Oh man. Well, if we're just doing strictly winners and losers, I have to add one winner and one loser. One winner being La'el Collins and one loser being Dak Prescott. Just by simply the end of the episode.
I like that
roasting.
One.
That was hilarious. I think we saw a clip of that, but just to kind of catch that at the end of the episode, it's really funny knowing like how close those two are. Just watching them kind of roast each other, it was really, really funny. And I forget, obviously we all know that La'el's an LSU guy, and we know the history with Dak and Mississippi State. But you forget that Dak wanted to go to Louisiana State at one point because he was a Louisiana guy, and how I wonder how much LC holds that over his head when they.
I'm sure he brings it up all the time.
Yeah,
right? He just needles him all the time about it, and Dak has to just sit there and take it. I think it's phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
Another winner is Odd and Dirty, I believe is how you pronounce his correct name, right? The Cowboys defensive line coach. Seems like he's a really good teacher. It seems like the players have a lot of fun kind of busting his balls a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
I think he's a lot of fun. I think his personality really showed well in this show.
I mean, he is like a caricature of what I imagined a British football coach looking like.
Exactly.
It was so funny because his voice is just right on cue, and just the accent really hits, and just the phrasing and
Did you like Jerry's
euphemisms?
Churchill.
Yes, beating on the ground. Yeah, that was hilarious. My favorite was what was the phrase? Don't chase the edges, Bashy. Don't chase the edges. Bashy. He's calling him Bashy. I thought that was hilarious.
That was really good.
I mean, I thought that was really, really funny. He came off as very likable. I was really fascinated because, I mean, you and I'm assuming maybe more than other people, but I've been following his career a little bit, all the way from Eddie Abafi, who had been on the Cowboys practice squad for a while. He was the scout that found him for the Cowboys when he was kind of just like I don't even know what he was doing, but I guess he was an intern for the Cowboys.
He was an intern. You saw him, catching practice passes from Jason Garrett, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've heard about him in one frame or another, for quite a while now. And then when he became defensive line coach, it was really kind of just, wow, that's amazing that he's made it all the way back up here. So to get that insight there was really cool, just kind of after hearing his name in the background for several years now.
I thought that was a really good storyline. Another one, Micah Parsons. I just love how this guy does not want to come out of the game, right?
He's just fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
He's just, fun to watch on the field and fun to watch in this show. He's just, and his mother, he gets all of that from his mom. It clearly shows, I thought the best part, one of the better lines was him to Henderson when they were doing the Rams practices. And he's like, they effed up by sending you trying to block me, man. It was just, and Henderson was like, yeah. It was
he knows.
hilarious, man. That was awesome.
Parsons is really fun. He just has he's this ferocious linebacker who's kind of soft spoken, right? He seems like he's very much still a kid, right? Like he just wants to be out there and play. He doesn't really care about anything else. It's all he wants to do.
All shucks. Even when he was getting beaten chess, it was just like
but my favorite line of the whole Hard Knocks: "You're not better than me. You're not good. You're not good."
Which the guy who just beat you, you're like, you're not good. You're not good. You're not good.
I said, man, that reminded me a lot of my friends playing video games. It's like, you won, but you're still not good, right?
You're not good though. Yeah, I'm not. I'm still not impressed, and that's like the ultimate. I don't care. I wrote down in my notes that I thought that Zeke is like a Muppet monster. Like remember like in the Sesame Street, that's what he acts like. And then, at times he looks like he's just such a goofball. And it's hilarious to kind of watch him, doing like from the talcum powder thing to the chewing on sunflower seeds to like him freaking out about Reggie Davis's hurdle. It's just hilarious to watch him, frankly.
Another winner. If you only watch this episode of Hard Knocks, you might think Ben DiNucci is the next Tony Romo, right? Like they were really going for that angle of, hey, DiNucci leads the touchdown drive, leading a comeback win, potentially looking good in practice, throwing spirals. Thought DiNucci came out well.
Yeah, he had that little kind of montage, do that cadence beat. That cadence beat was really cool. Like the way that they were doing and if you think I didn't screen grab all those those slides about cadence so I could read them later, I definitely did. So I thought that was interesting, and it's kind of funny because we hear so much, back to the kind of football side of things. We hear so much about them working on cadence and really focusing on it. And you think about how great, specifically Aaron Rodgers has gotten over the years under Mike McCarthy, with his cadence. So this emphasis on cadence and then kind of seeing them and put it in play, it just reminds you that like that's one of the things that they really are focused on. That's a little bit different, that we didn't really see a heavy focus on as much as we could tell from the Garrett administration.
So we are 2 episodes in, Landon, and we really haven't got any Jalen Smith stuff. Is that surprising to you?
It is surprising. I don't know if look, I mean, clearly out on the field, there is this, push to try to we've been hearing it a little bit more lately. It's more about 42-11, maybe, a little bit, maybe even less about Leighton Vander Esch, and definitely, not a lot about Jalen Smith. He's running with a lot of the twos at times and stuff. And so maybe part of that is also kind of a de-emphasis of him in this. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's definitely so flashy, and they're going to try to promote him. Maybe it'll happen, but it is interesting that we just not even kind of really in the background very much, very much of Jalen Smith.
And I think when Hard Knocks was announced, I think a lot of people's biggest fear is this is going to turn into the Jalen show, right?
Yeah,
and he was going to be promoting stuff, and they were going to be going to the story back at Notre Dame and how his career's kind of gone. And maybe it's coming, but
that certainly still could come for sure. But it hasn't seemed
so far.
Yeah, I mean, like even I think I remember seeing him in one conversation or maybe 2 with Parsons or something. But I mean, it really has not been focused on him or showing him a lot.
No. I agree. Let's take one more quick break so I can tell you guys about Built Bar, the absolute best tasting protein bar. It's hard to even explain it. It's real chocolate with amazing flavors. It's just a great combination of low calories, high protein, and low sugar with no crazy additives. Best of all, they taste fantastic. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15 and you will get 15% off your next box at BuiltBar.com. All right, Landon, the next winner that I had is Demarcus Lawrence. We didn't get a ton of Demarcus Lawrence, but the reason I'm calling him a winner is whenever you have to take your family to the beach, that's exhausting. And I'm sure you know this, right? taking even one kid to the beach can be a miserable experience. To take multiple, I believe 3 of them, props to Demarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. That must have been worse than whatever, he was going through on the bank
back
trying
surgery.
to get recovered. Yeah, or back surgery or whatever. Trying to troll him. I have personal experience getting your kid up and down the Oxnard beach, and it's kudos to him, certainly.
Actually, the thing that stood out to me?
What's
it's
that?
year 8 for him. Like when they said that, it's like, oh, really? It's already year 8 for Demarcus Lawrence? That seems crazy.
I mean, I think that's the thing is that with Crawford around, it's been creeping, right? Because they've been getting old together. So like Crawford's always been, or for at least for the last several years before he retired, was like kind of like the veteran of the group, or at least there would be 1 or 2 other guys that were kind of his age or older, right? And then suddenly Crawford retires, and now D-Law is like he's the vet of the group, and by quite a bit. I mean, I obviously Randy Gregory is close to him, but I mean that doesn't necessarily count considering how much more skins on the wall D-Law has than anybody else. So it is kind of interesting to see, like, when they mentioned that I was like, it really made me think about how much time has just flown by doing this, and and how long he's been doing it. It was great to see like his family too, and that he was including them, because we see that randomly with some of these that they interview the family together, and they have such a great family. That was awesome little segment to see D-Law. Yeah,
I'm wondering if we'll get a segment or a video, or a scene next week where it's Amari Cooper and Demarcus Lawrence kind of coming back from the PUP. I've got a feeling we're going to see both those guys some more. A couple other moments that I really like: Carlos Watkins' son doing the sled. That was pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah. It's always fun when they get the video of the kids on the field. Just like playing around and trying to do football stuff, especially when they're young. It's just again, it just humanizes the kid, humanizes these people. I mean, we talk about them all the time. It's easy to forget that they have families and lives and everything, and this just kind of shows you that, which is great.
So you sent me over some notes. Donovan Wilson being the kind of the leader on the defense, right? The vocal leader.
Yeah, that was funny. I don't know, like we don't see that as much, and so it was kind of interesting to see that he was that guy, because I didn't necessarily peg him as that kind of guy, but I also didn't have very much of an opinion on what his personality is. It's just great to see guys stand out in different personality ways.
I would say that for Donovan Wilson, did you see the corner route that Sean McEwen ran for the touchdown in the one-on-one drills where he beat him? I think it was DiNucci throwing the ball in practice. Listen, I saw it. That's all that matters. I will tweet out the video for other people. My guy Sean McEwen making plays. I think we should also finish up with Dak, right? I kind of thought we were going to get more Dak info in this one, right? Like I thought they were either going to tell us how the MRI went or stuff, and all we got was the voiceover. He's been cleared to throw more, and they show us that one throwing session with Amari Cooper, and that was basically it. Do you think they're just waiting for next week? Do you think they're waiting for this week's preseason game? What do you think is going on there?
I'm trying to remember. Did he have the MRI before the?
He had the MRI. Was it Friday?
Was it the 4th or 5th MRI that he had before the
game? He had another MRI after the Cardinals game. That's the way I think it played out.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the opening.
The next one,
episode 3. Yeah.
Well, right? And remember, there's going to be an episode after their preseason game, this week. So I'm guessing I've got a feeling that's going to be the big storyline, right? Like ramping up, getting ready for that part. So I think we'll see more Dak. Any other thoughts on this episode before we head out? Seemed like a slower episode, right?
I was actually going to say the opposite. I thought I liked this one even better than the last one. I don't know. I just thought that there was more going on. I got to say, I love that Hard Knocks has injury music, like the
That's good. Yes, I noticed that. Yes,
that was hilarious, because who was that? Was it Basham that got hurt?
It was Basham that sprained his ankle. Yep.
And they had like the Hard Knocks theme, except in like a diminished key or something. It was
it's so good. It was
hilarious. So I just thought that I had to point that out. And then we should finish with how they finish. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that we're together and we're gonna win.
I like that. It's Locked On Cowboys motto right here.
Cowboys motto right there. Yeah.
I got to mention Dan Quinn getting really upset in the booth because they missed the Azure Kamara holding penalty. I like that. That was good. Can't repeat what he said.
Coach is pretending to be mad at losing preseason games is
yes. Although I don't know if Dan Quinn was pretending to be mad.
Dan Quinn did seem like he was
actually been mad. No, I think he might have actually been mad. That is it for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back on Thursday. We'll be, I think, maybe doing some Twitter questions, looking at some practice stuff. Friday, we'll prepare for the Cowboys' third preseason game. Getting all these preseason games mixed up. I keep forgetting that they have one more than everybody else.
All blended together.
We're getting close to the season, though. We're still working out all the kinks on this show. So make sure you follow Landon on Twitter at McCoolBCB. You can follow the show at Locked On Cowboys. Again, we'll be back on Thursday. We'll see you guys later.